Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen. So I'm sorry it's a little bit chaotic, but as you know, it's the holidays and probably everybody's kitchen looks like this or worse. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make a graham cracker crust. Now this is a really easy recipe. A lot of people already know how to make it or just buy the store-bought version. So I actually wasn't going to share this with you, but I do change it up just a little bit. So I thought I'd go ahead and show you. So to start off with, I have 5 tablespoons of melted butter. I'm not using that yet, but I will be. So you want to go ahead and melt your butter and get that ready. And I am using my food processor again to chop up my graham crackers. You can use any special flavored graham crackers if you want, like if you want them to have a cinnamon taste, or if you want to do this as a chocolate graham cracker crust, you could do that as well. You can get away with not using your food processor if you don't have one. So what I used to do before I had a food processor was I would actually just bash them up really good with a rolling pin, which while it's fun, it doesn't get you even sizes. And to be honest, for this crust, it is best if you can do the even sizing on it. So I definitely recommend a food processor if you have one, but you can get away with it if you don't. So hold tight while I go ahead and get these chopped up. Now I'm only doing a rough chop at the beginning because this is the part where I change it up a little bit. I'm going to be adding some pecans as well. So this is an 8-ounce bag. You saw that I put in 2, I don't know what they're called, packs, my husband tells me, packs of graham crackers. To be honest, that's probably more than I need, but I like to just go ahead and make a bunch because I'll just save the rest of it in a Ziploc bag and I can use it for another crust later. So I'm going to be using about half of this bag, so about 4 ounces of pecans. What I like about doing this is it just gives it an extra element, an extra little for one thing, it binds it together a little bit more because of the oil in the nuts, but it just gives you an extra little toothsome wholesomeness in there. So now we're going to go ahead and grind this really good. Check on it. I still have some big pieces, so just a little bit more. We should be good. So it should be really nice and fine and sandy. It doesn't have to be super fine because you do have the nuts in there, so it is going to be a little bit chunky, but sandy. That's what you're really going for, is a sand type consistency. Alright, so now on to the actual recipe portion of it. As always, I forgot my bowl. Okay. 1.5 cups of your mixture here to the 5 tablespoons of melted butter. You can also add seasonings in at this step. If you want to do like a ginger crust or a cinnamon crust, you can absolutely add that in as well at this point to give it a little bit more of a fragrance, especially if you're doing holiday baking. And then a 1/4 cup of sugar. I'm going to mix my sugar into this before I put the butter in, and you want to mix it with a fork. It's really quick and easy. My oven is heated to 350 degrees. Even though this is the kind of crust that you generally use for a no-bake pie, you should still bake it a little bit. You don't have to, as far as like health-wise. It's absolutely fine to eat it unbaked, but it'll give it that crispiness, that little bit of warmth if you do go ahead and do it, and it will kind of meld it together the way that it's supposed to so it doesn't crumble up on you. So now you can see how it's wanting to clump up on my fork. that's good. That's exactly what we want. If you're experienced with these kind of crusts, you already know that. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dump it into my springform pan. Now, depending on what type of pie you're doing, your pan will be different. So if you're doing like a tart, it would be a tart pan. I'm making this for a cheesecake, so it's in a springform. So what I do is I just take my little 1/2 cup measure, because it's got enough room that I can get my fingers down into it. And the first thing I do is kind of spread it out like that. Just loosely spread it out. And then once I've got pretty much full coverage there, then I start tamping. You're going to start from the middle out. And what you're doing here is you're compressing this and pressing it together, pressing those crumbs and that butter and those nuts together there, and making it a solid piece as opposed to the little clumps that you saw a minute ago. So you just do that all the way around. For my cheesecakes, I don't really get too technical about how far up the sides it goes. So just kind of what the mix makes is what I do. But if you would want it to go farther up, you can just use more of your mixture. And then just a final kind of just going over it just to make sure that it's even. If it's high in a certain place, you can kind of tamp it and move it, because it will move a little bit. But you can see now I don't have any cracks, I don't have any bald spots, nothing like that. That's going to go into my oven at 350 for between 10 to 15 minutes. And then I'm going to take it out and let it cool before I put my cheesecake in here. So, if you have any questions about this, please leave me a comment and let me know. But until then, enjoy it and happy Thanksgiving.